We can't unsee some of the things that we've seen.
Absolutely. I was a grunt, I was an infantryman, and I was in both invasions, and you gotta do a lot of bad stuff.
Your body gets conditioned to living at high alert, and your body just doesn't turn it off and off.
20 veterans a day commit suicide.
You can't ignore that and think that that's acceptable for the United States of America.
It's a national epidemic right now.
13 people I knew and served with have committed suicide from Whiteman Air Force Base, Missouri.
The Bureau of Land Management was mandated by Congress to manage our wild horses.
We're out here gathering wild horses to remove them from the range.
The BLM rounds up wild horses because they want to clear public lands for cattle and mining interests.
What's going on is a travesty.
Well, this is the living symbol of the pioneer spirit of the West, and it's in a cage.
A wild Mustang that's been rounded up and gone through hell and then thrown into a pen without their herd, their lost souls. And that's where I was at.
These horses have the same problems that some of these veterans are having.
Horses with PTSD and a veteran with PTSD, and bingo, there's the starting point.
You know, I like to think about them as angels covered in fur. There's been really no opportunity where the Mustangs get to show their greatness as much as saving a soldier's life.
Both of them need each other. And when these two can get together and save each other, it's amazing.
Wow, hi, Jeff.
Hi, David. How are you?
How are you? I love your backdrop.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me today. What an amazing documentary, Mustang Saviors. This not only that I work a lot with vets, around Veterans Day, and I admire them because, I'm basically a coward, so, and I just admire anyone who serves our country in that way. And I try to do it in my own way. But also the plight of the veterans, and their situations, whether it be, there's so many things, but this really addressed something that really helped the vets. And I just admire you for that. So thank you for bringing this documentary to the forefront. And also I love how you began your movie with a prayer. And my roommate's Native American, he's Navajo Nation. And when we watched it, he just loved that. He said, man, this movie's blessed. It cannot fail.
And he understood the song because I don't necessarily. So
yeah, that was such a wonderful touch.
Thank you very much.
Well, the suicide rate among veterans is tragic on a national level, but there's a program that's making a difference, so much so that's the subject of your documentary. So tell our viewers exactly the premise behind Mustang Saviors.
Yeah. So I heard there was this veteran suicide rate, and in my mind, what can I do? Literally, I remember saying it in my kitchen, and then a little bit later, a friend needed a ride to a facility, and it was a place that was putting veterans with wild horses. And so it was a boomerang that came back at me, and I got out of the car from giving him the ride. The woman who I met said, "What do you do, David?" "I'm in TV and film production. You should do a documentary about this." So it sparked and it became alive when she said that. And a couple days later, I made the decision. So within a month, we were out there and we got our first set of interviews.
Tell me about that, getting the trust of the vets that you featured in the movie. How did that process work?
Some of them in the early interviews were open quickly, and some of them, it took a while for me to keep showing up and having moments not on the camera because some of them did not want to be filmed. So it was a process of building rapport and hearing stories. And I'd be in New York all of a sudden. Oh my goodness, there's that guy with the key. So after meeting each other and talking, interacting, it was a trust building process for some. And some were just literally outright, "Please don't film me," as I'm walking through getting them. And I respected that as much as I could. So it was a balance of some were quick and some took longer to share.
I like how your documentary also showed the plight of the Mustangs, because here in Nevada we have a wild Mustang program. Feds were rounding them up, destroying many to the outcry of all of our citizens. And also they were going through their own form of PTSD.
That came out of the process. I filmed a roundup, and then I met a horse advocate, and then after we edited the film a certain way, we realized we didn't have the voice advocate, the horse advocacy side of the story. So I ended up interviewing 4 more people. So that was a discovery in the process of the filmmaking of, wow, the correlation, the parallel these have gone through. So I think it added a lot more value to the film to see why they fit so well together.
And, you know, when I saw this documentary, it reminded me of a movie called The Mustang, which was based on the inmates in Northern Nevada Correctional Facility, where they were taking care of horses, wild Mustangs, for adoption, but also was beneficial to them for therapy and their PTSD. So there's something about these wild Mustangs that just have such an incredible benefit to people.
I think that that's starting to come into the surface of more people are becoming aware of that. I think it really is this heightened sense of survival that they have, that we as humans, if we get near them, must go to our base in our breath. And if you meditate, you understand your breath is just what you have, really, and everything else is the activity. But it really helps, I think, a person getting around a horse. It's something that I'd love to see more. It's hard in our urban world, but if we want something, I think we can figure out how. So hopefully the film will share the value of these wild horses and increase programs.
Is the 1 vet a day, 20 vets die a day from suicide, and the ride to New York City? I mean, to see these horses going through Times Square, you know, riding for the vets and for suicide awareness. I mean, that was just, what an amazing sight. I wish I could have been there in person to see that.
Next year you can. They've been doing them for several years now and are increasing the cities. So that's the whole point, though. And it really was a magical thing. And I went to New York the first year, and then the second year, and I also got to go through DC, and they went through Chicago. We didn't include the footage, but it really is a remarkable sight to see a team of horses going through Manhattan. It was something extraordinary. So
I encourage everyone to see this, the Mustang Saviors. What a wonderful, wonderful way for the vets to get our thanks through these incredible animals, the spirit of the West, definitely. So David, congratulations. Thank you so much for joining me today, and come visit us in Las Vegas when you have a chance. We'd love to have you.
Jeff, I look forward. I'll reach out when I am, and be well until, and thank you for sharing the film. I appreciate it so much.